see firsthand for themselves what is taking place, and to be able to ask questions which seek further information or clarification. I also want to recognize my colleagues who are here, and as you know, we have in place a board called International Airport Development Company. Mr. Bino Bado is the chairman of that board, and that board is made up of both public and private sector persons with varying skills and competencies and interests. Um, and that board also is also facilitated by the chief executive officer, and there will be additional staff that will be provided to the board as the project goes along, including the hiring of an international firm that will ensure quality assurance, that the contractors and developers are building the airport to the specifications of the government of Dominica, etc. And of course, we will continue to engage the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority. We'll also continue to engage ICAO, and the firm that will engage will also be liaising at some point with the FAA, especially with the own certification with flights coming from North America in particular. So we are seeking to ensure that all of the legal, technical, regulatory requirements are met. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to build such project of such cost and magnitude. And we have ensured from day one, from the feasibility study that was done by an American firm in looking at various sites across Dominica and recommending this site as the most feasible site for the construction of the international airport, because we wanted to ensure we do it right from day one, through the completion of this airport. Because this is not a bus stop we're building. It's not a one-bedroom house we're building that you can break down and build back tomorrow morning. It's a significant project. And so we ensure that all of these things are done. As you know, we have entered into an agreement with MMC as a developer to build the airport for us. There was an international tender process. I believe 5 or 6 firms tendered. There was a firm from Canada, from the United States, and maybe 3 or so from China. And China Railway 5 was given the contract to build the international airport. You can Google that company. It is a highly internationally reputable firm, which we believe has the capacity to deliver the project. And we have seen them in action over the last 9 months or so that they have been here, doing their own investigations and so forth. They have been fully mobilized to start the project. Obviously, there are a number of pre-construction interventions which must be done. The further investigation with geotechnical studies, and of course, I will leave it to the technical people to speak to these issues and to draw to your attention the number of boreholes that have been done in the last 8 months, and it continues. You've seen the equipment there that has been done as we speak to further inform of the final designs, engineering that's required. And of course, those boreholes that have been done over the last 9 months have informed of some changes to the original conceptual design, insofar as waterways are concerned, etc., because of the soil type. And this is why I say the Chinese contractors are very, very detailed and meticulous and highly professional and competent where engineering is concerned, and we have great confidence in the abilities to deliver this project. Um, the project has not started insofar as construction of the airport itself. Where we are now is the facility, the location for the concrete batching plant. You're gonna need, serious metric tons of concrete on a daily basis. That almost will be poured on a 24-hour basis as you go along. So there'll be a massive concrete plant here and other supporting facilities, including the construction of office for the contractors and some residences for the workers that we're bringing in to assist with the construction of the airport. But we have no doubt that the signs that we are seeing have been the most visible and transparent signs of Dominica's effort to build an airport. Um, we have been speaking about it for the last 55, 60 years. It has been a dream and aspiration for every right-thinking Dominican who understands development and the need to increase job opportunities and grow the economy, expand the economy, especially a post-colonial economy. Luckily for many countries in the Caribbean, they inherited international airports during the World War, with the U.S. using their countries as bases for refueling. Many countries inherited international airport. What they had to do was to extend the runway, maybe build a new terminal building, etc. And many of these people, these countries, had flat lands that they could have used to build the airport. So St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua, all of these areas received the airport. Grenada had started one. It was completed by Maurice Bishop with the help of the Cuban revolutionary engineers. So we have not been as fortunate as they have been. We are now doing it by ourselves with our efforts. And so we're very grateful to the Lord for this opportunity to be able to launch this very ambitious project. We're very optimistic that we will complete it and complete it within a 4-year or so period, barring any unforeseen negative weather. But we're in full speed. Once all of those tests have been done, once all of those, the concrete batching plant will be constructed, my understanding is that it will take them about 2 months to complete the construction of the batching plant, and the associated office and residences for the workers and so forth. About 2 months, and during that time, obviously, the designs be finalized and they will be submitted to planning. We're gonna have to get technical support for planning in order for them to be in a position to properly review those plans. So that is also being done. We're speaking to an international partner firm who have airport experts at their disposal, and they're prepared to assist us with that, because we need to ensure that we do it right and do it properly. Just to say that in respect to, yeah, 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 yeah. Just to say that with the boat coming in direct, the boat brought the equipment directly from China, and I believe that the port, I've been advised that the port got a huge check, so they did in fact pay DASPA for the clearing of the boat. Mr. Bad will try to keep most of it or all of it for DASPA, but I was able to intervene and to ensure that the stevedores got double pay rather than single pay or regular pay, by getting them to start offloading the boat very early. Mr. Bad will try to play a fast one on them because there's some technicalities on when you start, and if you start a particular time, you get a day and a half or time and a half or double time. And I was able to get them double time. But my understanding is that the stevedores would have received for the 2 weeks that they cleared the boat close to $400,000 was shared among them. That is outside of their other pays just for that boat. Some $400,000 was paid to the stevedores, and I understand they're asking whether a boat will come every week. you I think we're only expecting another boat to come in sometime in July, and then they will make a similar amount. But the monies that they made from the poor diaspora was able to pay quite a number of bills. So it's good news all along. And what is also happening now too, we are using the local transporters, people with hauling capacity, to transport all of the equipment from the Woodbridge Bay port to here. So a number of people have been able to get their transporters out, and you see the transporters moving either through Portsmouth or through the interior road. All in an effort to ensure that at every stage of the construction of the airport, that Dominicans benefit. Dominicans can benefit. And as we speak, I have received rather a proposal from owners of equipment in Dominica. They've sent me a proposal and I pass it on to the developers and the contractors. They're in touch with them. And we give all of them the assurance that once the equipment are available, that they will be engaged at various stages of the construction of the airport and so forth. And every stage of the game, that they'll be provided with opportunities to benefit from this. So I will end just to say that I'm very happy that you made it here. Um, we will come back at some point to have a blessing of the site. Is an important consideration, and we will do so. Uh, Invite the clergy and all of us to be part of the blessing of the site, to put this site in the hands of the Lord for his protection and for his guidance and for safe construction with no incidents, etc., and successful completion of the project. Um, I am happy that we have what I also said to you. I also invited all members of parliament, and I mean all members of parliament, both government and opposition. And I'm happy that the member of Marigot accepted the invitation here, um, because we want this to be a national project, a project that we can wrap around the Dominica flag, and to bring a sense of pride to ourselves and greater hope for the young people, and for more opportunities, for so many people who are increasingly dependent on tourism and services, and the great opportunity for agro-processors to be able to export, and agriculture, and getting our vegetables to be able to be transported, and our fish and fishermen. We can speak of so many multiple and multiply positive impacts of the airport. That for anybody to be against it, you can say, well, the runway should be 3,000 meters, not 2,850. You can say, well, you hope there's a little red in the roof, or you can say, well, um, you hope that the Boakwai is part of the landscaping. Those kind of things there, and you hoping that there's a nice VIP lounge, and for not only for government officials and visiting the dignitaries, but any Dominican who would like to use the VIP lounge and pay a service. But to say against the airport, we don't need the airport it's a waste of money. That is really foolish talk. And the Bible has cautioned us against engaging people with foolish talk. And so I wish not to engage on that. But anybody who wishes to engage us in constructive dialogue, sincere dialogue, you know, suggestions, sincere questions, we are open to those things and so forth. But I won't be engaging myself in anybody who thinks that Dominica doesn't need an airport. We waited for this for 55, 60 years. We couldn't afford it. We're grateful to the Lord for the Citizenship by Investment program, and that's why I've always said to us, if we have questions and concerns about the program, we can raise those questions. but we should never be part of any efforts as Dominicans to join people who are not interested or do not care whether we have breakfast or lunch on any given day, to join them in seeking to undermine and to destroy the CBI program. The CBI program is an important source of non-tax revenue. And without this program, there is no bank in the world, there is no financial institution in the world who will provide you with any money to build the airport. Ask St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The CDB gave St. Vincent and the Grenadines not $1 in loans or grants. The World Bank gave them not 1 cent, because these institutions do not have the capacity, and even if they would have the capacity, you have a limit in how much you can borrow from these countries insofar as this kind of infrastructure are concerned. They may give you some to improve on the one that you have, but the one that we have has served us well. We have brilliant night landing, but we recognize the limitations. When it rains and the low visibility, American comes in there, circles around for half an hour and has to go back to Miami. That's a huge cost to American Airlines. And it's a huge inconvenience to those of us and the hoteliers who are waiting outside for the guests to board their vehicles to go to the rooms waiting for them. And how do we mitigate against that? How do we put an end towards that? We believe that the international airport is the answer to all of those challenges, and to sustain the flights that come in direct flights. And I am very confident that when this airport is constructed, we will see long-haul flights into our country, transatlantic flights in our country, because our tourism product is gaining international attention, is gaining international accolades. And those who say that I have paid CNN and all of these firms, I mean, I wish I had that influence, because people like to give me influence that I don't have, but I guess maybe it speaks to the confidence that they have in me and my abilities. So they think that I have such influence, not only in Dominica, but further afield. But we're grateful to all the stakeholders the Ministry of Tourism did here for staying the course. And I believe we are on an upward trajectory, and if we work together and to build the product, enhance the product, I think we have some good things in store for us. So we're here at the airport site. I want to thank the property owners again. I know my friend asked me a question about when will he get paid for the 5 acres of land that we took from him. I did, after I spoke to him, which is a legitimate and fair question, and this is the kind of engagement you want to have, we did we checked the files, and we were able to tell him after that we settled a price with the executor of the will, which is his sister. I believe resides overseas. So that now being settled, I think the next step is to get paid. So the share that you have in that 5 acres, my brother, very soon, very soon you get your share of that thing, so you can spend it to your upliftment and to your thing. But it's a legitimate question that we have, and this is what the engagement we can have and the dialogue that we can have, respectful, sincere, and that's the engagement we can have. But we thank your family for agreeing. Your sister has been very gracious. Imelda, that's the name, right? Zelda has been very gracious and very helpful and very respectful during the time of the negotiations. But I was told she's a very tough negotiator and so on. Yeah. So she got a good deal for the family. Thank you very much. I will pass it to Minister Grant, and then to the Minister for Housing, and then Carl Murad from MC.
Thank you, PM. Good morning to everyone. Let me first of all welcome each and every one of you to West. Let me first of all welcome each one of you to Wesley. I must say it's a good time to be the para rep for the Wesley constituency. But let me start off by saying a heartfelt thanks to the homeowners and the landowners of Wesley, because they are the real true patriots of Dominica, And it is not an easy task after living in your home for 30, 40 years to being told that you will not have to move for a national project. And to do so without any hesitation, without any demonstration. And it's important that we point this out this morning, because very often you hear that Wesley is difficult, Wesley people are stubborn. But we were able to do all of this over 500 acres without any difficulty. And that is largely due to the cooperation of the Wesley people, and I think that they must be applauded for this effort. Let me also say that if you would look around, you would see a number of young men in overalls, and a number of these young persons are from Wesley. So they are already feeling the impact of the airport. If some of us would have drove through the community and would see that the block is empty. So we have moved from the block to the airport side. And that is commendable. So again, let me just say a heartfelt thanks to the homeowners, because they are the ones who are making this possible, for not just for the persons here in Wesley, but for Dominica. The farmers, again, is not just about the structure. So yes, we have some beautiful homes, but we ensure that our farmers were compensated. A number of them are smiling. So we compensated all the farmers, and in addition to they being compensated for the crops that they had, they were also allowed to harvest the crops. So essentially, all the farmers, what we will call a double bubble, they got paid and they still harvested. So the farmers got compensated, and it's important that as a government that we pay attention to the livelihoods of people. Structures are important, but the livelihoods are taken into consideration as well. So let me just say that enjoy the day in Wesley. I wish that you all could spend some time with us. We will be happy to host you, and we look forward to seeing you all again. Thank you.
To the power rep that I envy him for having such a great national project here in his constituency. I believe it's going to transform the whole area. So that power rep, I don't know, I'm jealous of you right there. Let me say a heartfelt good afternoon to everyone. I'm happy to be on site today. This is my first visit. But I want to assure the public that the Ministry of Housing is doing everything that we can at this point, providing the technical support for this area. And we have been very instrumental previously in terms of the acquiring of the properties. The ministry acquired, we identified about 298 properties which had to be acquired from private owners. And from that, we have processed majority of it, maybe just about 20 left. But I must commend the response from the people. They have been cooperating very well. And in most cases, we have ensured that whatever we acquired from them, that they have gotten a better deal. And even in the case where we had crop compensation with people who were actually squatting, from a humanitarian standpoint, we still paid them for their crops. And so I sincerely want to thank the homeowners. As you saw, we did a tour earlier, and we saw the homes that were built. They are hurricane-proof, of course, with our resilient approach to housing. And we even saw private homes which were built by people who were paid cash for properties that they owned before. In some cases, well, they looked like mansions to me. And some cases, you saw that they built 2 homes out of what they've been able to acquire from the government. So we continue to stand in support of this, and we continue to provide the technical support. At this point, about 18 million has already been paid to private owners, and we can clearly see in the area what they have done, rebuilding more resilient. So I just want to thank everybody, and also point out too that even though it is an international firm building the airport, many of our people will be employed, like the Prime Minister stated. Likewise, with many of our ongoing housing projects across Dominica, we have 11 housing sites, and we are employing about 150 local contractors. Local contractors who are, in turn, in speaking to them, have about 20 people working underneath them. So we're ensuring that the money is circulating within the different communities. So again, thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy and proud to be here among you, this site and for this project. But first, allow me to address three issues here. The first issue is Joe Burton houses. I would like to thank the contractors, all of them, named by Easy Construction, Robbins Construction, which I think is here, Ideal Constructions, Projects Plus, and J&R Construction. These were the contractors, local contractors, who built Joe Burton project that is about 31 houses. And presently we are building 13 units, and still Ideal Constructions are doing the construction of those units. So thank you, my contractors. Thank you for building a nice project that Dominica is proud of, yes. The other issue is the airport. I have two concerns, or I heard two concerns. Number one is, what are we doing as a contractor, MMC, etc.? And I want to tell you that for the past, let's say, 1 year, we have been doing the geotechnical study of the land. And when I say geotech, I mean I don't know if the camera can see this, but this here, these small green dots, it shows the boreholes that we have to do. Now, the required number of boreholes that we need to do is about 630, 624 in specific boreholes. Out of the 624, we finished 148 to date. Now, in order to do those boreholes, we have to do clearing. We have to clear the land, the trees, and as you all know, it's all a difficult terrain. So the areas that we have cleared so far is this one here. It's the one in yellow and blue. These are the only areas that have been cleared. The total site area is 510, 525 in specific acres. And the cleared area that you see here is around 90 plus 18. You're talking about 110, 115 acres that have been cleared already. Someone will ask why that, 148 out of 600. I say, okay, it's because when we do a borehole, we have to, I'm gonna have to hold this way. This shows here 25 different tests for each and every borehole. Now, in order to drill the borehole itself, depending on the depth of the borehole, some are 10 meters, some are 50, some are more than 50 meters. So each one has different layers and different tests. That's 25 different soil tests that we have to do for each and every borehole that is drilled. And after doing these tests take from 14 to 20 days for each borehole. So that's what we're doing now. Now, after we do that and we have a full study of the geotech of the land, only then we'll be able to determine the foundation treatment methodologies of what kind of foundations we're going to have and what kind of loads we're going to have. This is an airport. This is a zero tolerance runway. It's not something that we're talking about, something that will stay, I cannot even say forever, till the day of judgment, God's will. You know, that's a project forever. Yes, it will be developed, it could change, it could be expanded, etc. But that's a project that will stay until the day of judgment, whoever believes in the day of judgment. So it has to be done right. It has to be done according to standards. Not only that, if we don't do that, then the airport will not be certified. In order to take the certificate or to earn a certificate from different entities, FAA, ECCAA, whatever, you know, there's many entities that we have to take their certification. Without it, the airport will not function. So that's why we have to make sure, that's why we are spending, we are working with a challenging land full of clay, rocks, this and that, but we will do it, and we have to do it. But we have to do it right, so it can last forever. That's what we're doing now. Once we do this, then we will prepare the drawings, we will definitely submit to the planning and to all authorities, whether in Dominica or internationally. It's not our submission of drawings, etc. It's not only for Dominica, it's not only in Dominica, it's not only to the government of Dominica, but also to other international authorities, aviation authorities. So please be patient with us and encourage us, support us. This is something for you, for everybody. That's the first issue. The second issue is the manpower and the hiring of the local Dominicans. I understand your frustration, I understand your demands. I'm here to assure you that once the airport is on full capacity, definitely any project starts with a histogram. A histogram is a line that goes, you start and then you go up to the peak point and then start gradually to the zero, which is finished projects, and then it becomes operational, manpower, etc. So now we are still at that dot, at zero. We are starting. We did not yet start the project. This here, what you see here, is a patch plant for concrete, which is part of the mobilization. We are also starting the mobilization facilities for the contractor, so he can get his people, get his laborers, get his engineers to be on site. We will be on site. I will be on site. We have built the office for the government officials, which is next to the lab. And the lab itself, the laboratory itself, was built as part of the airport to do what we are doing now. And it's a lab based on top international standards, top international equipments, and you're most welcome. Anyone would like to visit the lab, just let us know, and he's welcome to come and see the sophistication equipments, etc., etc. So I'm sorry I've taken longer than I should. I just wanted to assure you that locals, contractors will definitely be part of the airport when we are at the right speed. Local equipments will be part of the airport when we are at the right speed. Thank you very much. I'm giving you my assurance, and I've given it before to somebody. Thank you very much, and please help and support us to finish the task we want to do. Thank you.
A few words from the manager of the International Airport Development Committee, and then we'll take any questions that you may have, Matthias.
So I'll be quick and try to put where we are today in context. A lot of people have been asking, well, what's happening with the airport project? When is it starting? What are we doing? Has this been done? Has that been done? But the project up until this time, you can think of a duck on a lake, and just floating on the lake. When you look beneath the water, there are feet
moving, right? And that's what has been happening here with the project. In that, when you look at to get to this point, there is an initial concept development stage, which because we are following a progressive design build process, as a client, we now have to be very clear as to what is the concept that we want the contractor and the developer to do for us. So a lot of work has gone in terms of developing the concept, the facilities layout, the facilities to be involved, engagement with key stakeholders, with ECHA, ICAO. Just last week we were meeting with IATA, which are all international institutions that regulate and govern operations of airports. Airports are either the origin or the destination because you're connecting to somewhere else. So you need to ensure that you comply with these international institutions. So a lot of that good work has gone on. It started many years before I even got here. But we've made some enhancements and updates to it to reflect the joint reality that we've all gone through. We took the 2017 master plan and we updated it to reflect COVID. We had a pandemic no one ever thought of. How do you ensure that we are able to respond to those realities, right? We've had other instances where we want to make sure that we have capacity. We have hotels that have opened. We have the direct flights we're able to negotiate to get started. So your projections are now based on a different starting point than 2017. The PM gave the reassurance that we will have direct flights once the airport is completed. And one of the things that I've had the privilege of being part of some of these discussions where we've sat across the table with over 20 different airlines, British Airways, Air France, Virgin Atlantic, Spirit, JetBlue, all the major brands that you can think of. We've sat across the table with them, eyeball to eyeball, to have a conversation about Dominica. And what's different this time around is one thing to tell an airline that you're really interested in tourism, the destination is going places, you should come. It's another thing to say, and we are building an international airport, right? Because that shows commitment of the destination to the development of the product and makes it a lot more real. Even in terms of trying to attract airlines to our existing airport, right? They now sit up and once you tell them of the hotels that are already in place and are functioning and opening, you can attract a much better response. So just to put everything in context, that in addition to the concept, the designs, the geotech, and we spoke a bit about the many boreholes, 600 plus boreholes that have to be done. As you would well appreciate, we could stop everything and wait for all 600 boreholes to be complete, right? And then we go to the next step. Or you can do a parallel process where you strategically select where you prioritize your boreholes and take the information from that to then influence the design as you go along, right? Because as you can appreciate, 500 acres is a large area. And one of the things that we've been working on is ensuring that we're in full compliance with the FAA. I think the last geotech study that I looked at, it was concluded on 26 boreholes. We're at 148 going. Not to knock the last one, it's just that we're operating in a different space. The grid that is being followed for the boreholes, a 60 by 60 meter grid, right? To ensure that you can have full visibility and there are no surprises, right? Once you start cutting, to ensure that the cut and fill can be economical, can be practical, and can be assured, right? So a lot of this work has been going on to take us to this stage here. Even the placement of the concrete and batch plant, you had to have a facilities layout to know where you put these temporary infrastructures so it does not impede the work that you're going to do, because you don't want to put a facility in a site that is in the middle of the runway, right? The alignment of the runway, the wind studies, the hydrological studies, all of this had to be done to get us to this point, right? So it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I think as the opening act, we've set ourselves up in a good place to be able to continue and take the project to the next level. So thank all for coming, and I'll hand it over to. And one more thing, the boreholes that we spoke about, when we go to the lab, you guys will see some of the cores that have come out from the borehole. So you'll get appreciation for what the tests are.
I now invite you to pose your questions.
Matt Peltier, Q95. Mr. PM, we seem very optimistic as to the realization that this airport coming to be. But we have a lot of challenges as it relates to financing and economics. Given the challenges we face with the economic citizenship, this is no secret. How optimistic you are, sir, that this airport will become a reality with all the challenges that we now face with the economic citizenship program?
Well, simply put, we place our trust and confidence in the Lord that He will not get us to engage in an incomplete project, and that He will provide or continue to provide the financing that's required for this project. And that added to our own human confidence, I believe that we will get this project completed by the grace of God. I agree that as always, the Citizenship by Investment Program comes under attack from time to time, even from within and from without. But we are confident. The developers are pretty good, and they have delivered on a number of the projects that we've entered with them, and no doubt we have the same confidence with regards to the project. It's a huge undertaking, as you recognize. I mean, it is like none other projects that we have undertaken in the country. But I believe so far we have started well, and things are going pretty well, and we have every confidence that we will see the end, the successful completion of the project.
If you're optimistic, and there are those who are cautiously optimistic, if this project and the economic citizenship program doesn't be what you want it to be, do you have any other sources of income?
Well, I don't see the program. I don't see the program coming to an end. I don't see the program coming to an end. There may be countries that may want to take certain actions insofar as their concerns may be. That's for them. But in terms of the existence of the Citizens by Investment Program, there is no thought of the government ending it under any circumstances. Every country in the world understands the importance of this program to countries like ours. This is why they themselves have had programs like this. So they've had programs of varying degrees, whether it's a visa program or a residency program or a citizenship program. I believe maybe all of the G7 member countries have had such a program. So if the G7 countries would have had such a program and they recognize the benefits to them, they too, and they've said so to us, they too have said that is important to them. And I want to say to people, Dominico, and that's why I'm very grateful to the United States of America. And there are people who believe America doesn't like me because of my certain stance I take. It is not true. I stand on principle. I may agree with them sometimes. I may disagree with them sometimes, and I say so publicly. And what I say to them in the night, that's what I will say to them in the daytime. They have been very, very helpful in assisting us in coming up with recommendations that they believe can satisfy some of the concerns which they have and which other countries may have. This is where the 6-point program or recommendations came into play. So far, well, we've agreed to all 6 points, Dominico, and we have, since the meeting in St. Kitts, we have put in place 5 of these recommendations are in effect. There's one outstanding, That is the issue of the interview, and we're going the route of virtual interviews. We were looking to engage the due diligence firms to conduct that for us, but they felt that it might be a conflict of interest for them. And so we put in our own internal arrangements that to be overseen by the director of the Financial Intelligence Unit of Dominica. And then we're about to recruit 3 or 4 retired police officers who will serve, will conduct the interviews on Dominica's behalf. And we're also using an international firm that will assist with the translation, where you need translation in some cases. So in the next few weeks, we would have put in place all 6 recommendations agreed upon jointly with the United States government to further strengthen our CBI program and to place our CBI program in a more transparent footing, and one that can stand the test of scrutiny by all those who wish to examine our program. And one of the things I've said to the United States with Treasury Department is that I would like them to come to Dominica, whether it's once a year or once every 2 years or twice a year or 12 times a year, to come and conduct their own independent audit of our program to see what we're doing, ensure that we're doing everything according to the regulations and to international best practices. That was done with them last year. They came in October of last year, 2022. They spent a few days here from the Treasury Department on my invitation, and they examined the program, and they left satisfied that in large measure, Dominica was adhering to the best practices conduct, and coming out of that, that's where some of the recommendations, some of the 6 recommendations came into play, that they believe that if we put those things in place, and they were not, I must say to Dominicans that they were not impositions, they were not sanctions on the program. They were not saying that if you don't do that, then we will place sanctions on you. No, it was a mutually respectful engagement. It was a sincere engagement on the part of the United States government to engage us and to assist us in strengthening the CBI program. So I think with these measures, which are in place, I believe it will further assure of the existence and the continuation of the CBI program, coupled with our firm resolve to do what is right, to do what is proper, and to do what is in accordance with the rules and the regulations of the program.
A ballpark figure in terms of estimation, the airport, how much it will cost?
The airport would cost in excess of about 1.3 billion EC dollars. 1.3 billion EC dollars in excess of. And of course, with increasing cost of material, and we made it clear, that all of the equipment and the machinery have to be of the highest standards. I don't want to give details here or specifications, but certainly it will be an airport that will be of the highest quality and highest standards. So it will cost us in excess of $1.3 billion to build this airport. That is outside of the land acquisitions. That's just for construction related directly to the airport. The other aspects are not in the $1.3 billion. Land acquisitions, compensation, building of homes, the water system, etc., just for the airport. And as Mr. Johnson indicated, we'll be making changes as we go along. So when the pandemic came, and we had to look at providing quarantine facilities at the Douglas Charles, luckily we had this warehouse that we were able to reconfigure. I decided to include a health center as part of the airport project in the event that we need to deal with emergencies, in the event that we have to deal with another pandemic, that we have an existing facility on the airport site that we can quarantine people and not have to have makeshift facilities. So we have taken a lot of things into consideration in building the airport. Yes.
Carlisle John Baptist, PM Child News. There's a lot of talk out there about alleged government not meeting the various specifications, the EIA, etc. And we would have heard that there are persons out there who intend to go to court. How prepared are you at this time, or your government at this time, as it relates to that, if at all that is to come?
Well, the EIA was commissioned and completed, and I think we will make it document public and right, so that all can read it. There's nothing untoward in the report. If you build in a project like that, or if you build in a home, or a small boutique hotel, there'll always be environmental impacts because you have to cut trees, you may have to divert a river, a stream, um, the ecosystem would be impacted in some measure, but there are always mitigating measures which the EIA would recommend that you can put in place to mitigate against the impact on the environment. The EIA was conducted by an international and local firm, and it's an extensive document that highlights certain observations and recommendations on how to mitigate against this. And all of those recommendations in the report will form part of the project consideration going forward. And I'm directing publicly that the document be made public so that it can place on government website, the Americans can read it, and so forth. The issue of going to court is not something new by opposition for elements in Dominica. It was done with Eugenia Charles when they were written to the United States. So there are people who will find reasons to try to undermine the airport. Now, they never did that until they saw the equipment coming, because all along they were saying it's a hoax, Skerrit lied, and and it never happened, and so forth. The moment they say the boat landed, and then they say they're going to go to court because there's no this, there's no that, etc., etc., etc. So I'm not at all perturbed. The courts are there for anybody to go to see it, for anybody to see it, and to do whatever they want to access the courts. But we're not at all perturbed. We believe that if anybody goes to the courts saying there's no plan and approval, that matter will be thrown out to court. And a waste of the court's time. Really a waste of the court's time. And we have to, as sincere and serious Dominicans, let our voices be heard, because we must not allow people to seek to take away bread from our mouths if they cannot give us biscuit, and to deny the young people who have gone out to universities and get trained and looking for better paying jobs, more opportunities, and for the hoteliers who have invested their life savings into their properties, the little guest houses, the restaurant people. The taxi men are buying more expensive vehicles now. They have to buy coasters and not the small buses anymore. So people are investing. And how do we assure these people of their investments? People are investing more into agriculture. We have professionals, lawyers and doctors and engineers, accountants getting involved in agriculture because there are opportunities. Well, what are they going to do with their fresh fruits and vegetables? And so these are opportunities, and we must stand in defense of the future of this country and the opportunities that this airport will bring. I've been told that the EIA and the master plan have been deposited with the physical planning for their consideration, and I said we engage in because the physical planning has two functions in law: an advisory function to the state and a regulatory function to the whole country. And we will continue to engage the physical planning in the first instance of its advisory function on this and other projects, and then seek their consideration where the regulatory function is concerned. So I'll say so with the greatest sense of humility. I mean, Skerrit is no fool, So I'm not gonna approach this thing. I'm not going to approach this thing. This is too important a project for us to play the fool with it, and we're not prepared to play the fool with this project. I believe those who are opposed to it now, I suspect they may want to have the first flight landed here. It's similar to the stadium, They were opposed to the stadium. I see them first people in the stadium watching cricket to them, So So we're not put by this. I mean, that's the usual practice. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. Um, but those who oppose development in Dominica will find themselves being eternally outside of the house, and let those who are serious stay in the house to build. You- so, so let them do what they have to do, and that's okay. West News Online.
Mr. Mr. Prime Minister, good afternoon again. We have a a major project like this coming to the community.
Yeah.
We have some downfalls here, like the hospitality that we're going to need in our community, for one. Actually, I'm a business owner, I'm a restaurant owner. And I was thinking that, is there any advice you could give to the Wesley community, that things they could put in place to be first-class citizens in the community? Because a project like this could end up where our citizens are second class in our community. And we'd like to know if you could send some advice out there for the people of Wesley, so they could understand the things they need to get involved in to be in advance, so when this project comes, they could be beneficial out of it.
Yeah. I mean, during the construction of the project, there are a number of associated services that one can provide. Yeah. You're going to have a lot of workers here on the site. They're going to need vegetables. They're going to need agricultural produce. They're going to need eggs. They're going to need fish. So we need to start placing ourselves in a position where we can provide the workers on the site with this. People are going to need services, laundry services. Position yourself during the construction for this. People looking for accommodation, from private people. Do we have our downstairs that we can clean up and make available for rent? People and Dominicans are going to drive by and watch, and that's where your restaurant is going to come into play. So we need to start promoting your restaurant and so on. But in the medium to longer term, we have discussed in the cabinet, and I believe we may have taken a cabinet decision on this, to sort of declare sort of an affirmative action for Wesley, Woodfordale, and Palmtree in particular as the closest to the airport, in making available special concessions on various investments in those free communities, okay, for guest houses, restaurants, agriculture, etc. And also to provide some funds that could be placed at the aid bank at a highly concessionary rate that those persons who are interested in doing those investments can access, so that we work with you to build capacity and to upgrade your facilities in anticipation and in preparation for the completion of the airport and the operationalization of the airport. So there are a number of things that can happen during construction and after construction that we can place ourselves in. And I think it's important that the government comes back and have the engagements with interested parties to solicit interest in this, and so that we can know precisely how many people we need to cater for, and how much resources we need to place aside so purposes can have access to it and to invest. But these are kind of discussions we've had as part of the overall master plan in the construction of the airport. So not only about the physical master plan, but the economic master plan of the area, and how we can empower people. This is why you are saying we have decided to provide the farmers with leases for state lands for agricultural purposes. So one day they talk about we displace farmers and we're using farmlands for the airport. There are tens of acres of land, 100 acres of land that are available, 150 acres of land available for agricultural purposes, and can be leased to local residents here in long-term leases to engage in various agricultural practices and so forth. So we believe that there will be huge benefits. It's a matter for us in Wesley, Palmtree, and Woodfordale, as if in the first instance, to put our foot forward. But this airport is going to benefit the Roosevelt Valley where tourism is, the Carnegie territory. It's going to benefit Portsmouth. It's going to benefit Salisbury. It's going to benefit Marigot. It's going to benefit Penville. It's going to benefit everybody because it's going to bring in more revenues in the country. And that's what you use to run the hospitals. That's what you use for national security. That's what you use to teach our children and have schools and teachers and the resources. That's what you invest in the road infrastructure. So we're gonna see an increase in tourist arrival. Increasing tourist arrival means increasing revenue for the country, and increased revenue means the government is in a better position to address the concerns and the dreams and aspirations of the people of Dominica.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Before we move, please allow me to thank, on behalf of the Office of the Prime Minister and the Government of Dominica, the board members of the International Airport Development Committee, all the parliamentarians who are here with us, including from the government and opposition side, the airport ministerial and technical committees, as well as all cabinet ministers. Thank you so much for being here. Cabinet Secretary, PSCs, and of course the media for coming along with us.
Member of Parliament for Marigot.
Yes. Mr. Anthony Charles, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate your presence. At this point, we move to Londonderry, where the lab and office building are located, and where you're invited to join us for lunch.
And just to say, when we go to the former location of the St. Andrews High School, the facilities are built there, offices, and there's a lab. This lab will become part of the government's property with all of the equipment in there, and accessible to both private and public city, private sector and public sector for various investigations which to conduct. And the office space and all of the buildings we'll construct will remain with the people of Wesley, and to engage with it in whatever way they believe would enhance their social and economic standing. And so we're looking at the redevelopment of the St. Andrew site and turn it into a center where young people can come in to learn various skills and trades, and as part of the whole associated benefits of the international airport. So I want to say to Wesley people that you have, well, there's only one part in Dominica now, so I don't want to talk about that. So we have to work with the government. That's the only serious part in the country. There's the only organized party of a plan, the only party with the international and regional contacts. So what else you want again? But to support the government and to pray for the government and to work with the government so that all of us can benefit by working together. And let the government stay there for the next 50 or 60 years to advance the development in Dominica. But I would like to, I see we have a pastor in the house there, and I'd like to end with a word of prayer with the pastor and so forth.
Let's pray. Our Father, we give you thanks today. Indeed, God, we, with grateful hearts, say thank you for that which you are bringing to our nation. God, we are eternally grateful for that which you have initiated, that which you have started. And God, we rest assured, based on the assurance of your word, that there is nothing that you will start that you will not complete in the name of Jesus. You are that kind of God. You have given us that assurance over and over again. We call you the God of creation. We call you the Most High God. And if you could have given us such a wonderful piece of real estate that we call Dominica to develop and to build, God, we are confident that you would continue to pour into it. You would continue to look after our interests and bring this airport and everything that circles it to full completion. So truly, oh God, we give you thanks and we give you praise, and we ask you, let your blessing and more of your blessings be upon us as a people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.